Over 50. Don't let your relationships make you a victim. If you're over 50, or even 60, and you're thinking about starting a new relationship, dating, or bringing someone new into your life, this conversation is for you. This is a crucial topic that doesn't get enough attention, and it's something that can dramatically change the course of your life, especially as you get older. It doesn't matter if you're recently divorced, widowed, or just looking for companionship. It's time to have a serious talk about relationships in the later years. Now, many of us know what it feels like to be lonely. After decades of marriage, living with someone, being in a relationship where there's a partner by your side, it's tough when that relationship ends. Maybe it's due to a loss or a divorce, but the feeling is the same. You feel vulnerable, and you long to fill that empty space that was once filled by your partner. I get it. We all do. It's a completely natural human instinct to seek comfort, familiarity, and emotional connection. But the truth is, you must approach this carefully, especially when you're older. Let me share with you a story, a personal experience from a friend that I really hope can help you avoid a mistake that could cost you big time. My friend's mother was a widow who had lost her husband to cancer not long after his retirement. They had their whole life planned out, but everything came crashing down when he passed. She was in her early 60s, and like anyone, she was looking for companionship and a return to normal. She started dating again. She was emotionally vulnerable, and she wanted the comfort of someone who could fill the void. She met someone, a man in his 60s who seemed nice, even worked in construction nearby, and they hit it off. But over time, it became clear that he wasn't in the same financial place as her. This is where the story takes a darker turn. As time went on, he took full advantage of her emotional vulnerability and her need for companionship. He wasn't just looking for love, he was a financial predator. He saw her wealth, her emotional needs, and he capitalized on them. It's tough to talk about, but she eventually had to divorce him when she realized the extent of the financial mess he had caused her. And if that wasn't bad enough, because of his health issues at the time of the divorce, she ended up paying alimony. At 70 years old, she found herself having to pay alimony to a man who had practically used her. I'm sure many of you can relate to that feeling, wanting to find someone later in life, but the fear of being taken advantage of can keep you up at night. It's heartbreaking to see someone you care about go through that, and it could have been avoided. So, let's break it down. How can you protect yourself from falling into this kind of situation? The answer, my friends, lies in being evenly yoked. This may sound like an old farming term, but it's incredibly relevant in relationships, especially when it comes to finances. Imagine a pair of oxen working together to pull a cart. If one ox is stronger and the other is weak, it's the stronger one who ends up carrying the load. In relationships, if you're in a financially stronger position and your partner isn't, you're the one who's going to end up doing all the heavy lifting. It may not be obvious at first, but eventually, it will become clear. Trust me. So, here's the hard truth: don't make yourself a target. Yes, it's normal to feel vulnerable, especially after a loss or divorce, but you must remain aware. There are people out there who are in desperate situations financially and are looking for someone to support them. They can spot vulnerability from a mile away, and they'll take full advantage of it. If you're someone who has worked hard for your wealth, you need to protect that. It's not about being selfish, it's about being cautious and ensuring that your life remains secure. Sure, it's perfectly fine to date or enter a relationship at any age, but if you're emotionally vulnerable, you need to be especially careful. Take things slow. Don't rush in thinking that everything is perfect because the person is giving you exactly what you want to hear. A classic red flag to watch for is love bombing. You've probably heard of this term before, but it's crucial to recognize it. Love bombing happens when someone floods you with affection, attention, and praise in an overwhelming way. It feels great at first, but in reality, it's a tactic used to manipulate. They want to make you feel amazing, like you've finally found someone who understands you. But when that intensity becomes too much, and it always does, that's when the control starts to kick in. You've worked hard your entire life to build stability. Your spouse may have worked just as hard, and now you're in a place of comfort. Don't let anyone take that away from you. These financial predators are real, and they will take advantage of your vulnerabilities. This situation isn't limited to just women either. Men face this as well, and it's a problem that affects both genders. The best advice I can give is to protect yourself financially. If you're thinking about getting into a serious relationship, keep your finances separate. There's no need to combine everything when you've already built your own financial security. Sure, you can share experiences, trips, dinners, outings, but keep your money separate. Let's be honest, you're not a charity, and your wealth isn't a safety net for someone else's mess. If you're serious about dating, take your time. Don't jump into anything too quickly. Build a foundation of trust and friendship first. Don't let emotions cloud your judgment. And if you're seriously considering getting married again, talk to an attorney. Yes, it sounds like a business transaction, but it's about securing your future. Protect your assets and make sure everything is in order. Being alone is far better than being used. Trust me, being alone is not the worst thing in the world. It's better than dealing with the aftermath of being financially ruined by someone who only wanted you for your resources. Don't mistake loneliness for love. Don't mistake kindness for trust. Take your time, stay cautious, and enjoy life without the drama. You can absolutely find love later in life, but protect yourself along the way. And always remember, relationships are transactional. People will always have their own needs and desires. It's not a bad thing to acknowledge this. Just make sure you're not the one who ends up paying the price. If you've experienced something similar, I'd love to hear your thoughts and any advice you have for others. Leave a comment below, share your experiences, and let's help each other avoid these pitfalls. Let me share a story from a close friend of mine, someone who has walked this path, and whose experience really drives home the importance of being cautious in relationships later in life. This is a real-life example that I believe many of you will resonate with. I met Mrs. Clara when she was in her early 70s. She had been widowed for about 2 years after her husband passed away. They had been married for 40 years, and like many of us, she found herself emotionally vulnerable after such a deep loss. Mrs. Clara had always been a strong, independent woman, but the absence of her husband left a hole in her life. Naturally, she wanted companionship again. She wanted someone to share her thoughts with, someone to laugh with, someone to hold her hand at the end of the day. Like many of us, she eventually found herself dating again. After all, she was still relatively young in spirit and had a lot of love to give. She met a man, James, who seemed perfect at first. He was charming, attentive, and appeared to share her interests. He was also in his early 70s, financially stable, and seemed like a decent match. At first, things were wonderful. They traveled together, shared meals, and had long conversations about their pasts. James was warm and caring, and Mrs. Clara was thrilled to have someone in her life again. But after a few months, cracks started to show. James began to depend on her more and more. He started to talk about his financial troubles and would ask for small loans here and there, things that seemed harmless at first. Mrs. Clara, wanting to be supportive, never thought much of it. She trusted him, and after all, he seemed to be in need, and she wanted to help. But the requests soon grew bigger. It wasn't long before she realized that James was in deeper financial trouble than he had let on. He had a history of poor financial decisions that he hadn't shared with her, and now, he was relying on her savings to cover his debts. The tipping point came when James asked her to take out a loan for a joint investment that he was planning. Mrs. Clara, feeling uncomfortable, finally reached out to her daughter for advice. Her daughter, who had been a bit skeptical about James from the beginning, immediately urged her to consult with an attorney. And it was a good thing she did. After speaking to a lawyer, Mrs. Clara discovered that James had a history of financial instability, including unpaid debts, poor credit, and several failed businesses. He wasn't just asking for her help, he was manipulating her into a situation where he could drain her resources. It was a wake-up call for Mrs. Clara. She was heartbroken, feeling betrayed and naive for not seeing the warning signs earlier. But thankfully, by consulting with a lawyer and leaning on the support of her daughter, she was able to avoid any major financial loss. She ended her relationship with James and moved forward, but it wasn't easy. The emotional toll was significant, and for a while, she felt like she'd lost more than just a romantic partner. She felt like she had lost trust in herself. This experience taught Mrs. Clara some hard lessons, but they were lessons she now shares with everyone she meets. Trust your instincts, she says, and don't let loneliness cloud your judgment. You have worked hard your whole life for your independence, your stability, your peace of mind. Don't let anyone take that away from you. Her story is a powerful reminder that emotional vulnerability, especially after a loss, can make us susceptible to people who might not have our best interests at heart. It's a tough pill to swallow, but Mrs. Clara's story shows us that sometimes, even with the best of intentions, we need to protect ourselves emotionally and financially when entering relationships later in life. This personal testimony from Mrs. Clara adds a human element to the conversation, helping others see that the risks are real and the consequences can be life-changing. It's not about being cynical or distrusting of others, but about keeping your eyes wide open and making decisions that protect your future. Her experience serves as a warning, but also as a testament to the importance of taking control of your life, your finances, and your heart. If you've gone through something similar or have advice from your own experiences, I encourage you to share it in the comments below. Let's help each other stay aware, support one another, and build relationships that are healthy and truly fulfilling. As we wrap up today's discussion, I want you to take a moment and really think about what we've covered. Relationships, especially later in life, come with their own set of challenges, and it's easy to get swept up in the excitement of finding companionship again. But remember, your emotional vulnerability can make you a target for those who might not have your best interests at heart. Protect your heart, protect your finances, and be sure to take things slow. Relationships should add value to your life, not drain you emotionally or financially. It's okay to want companionship, but it's crucial to be aware of the risks involved. If something feels off, trust your instincts. Your well-being both emotionally and financially is too valuable to take chances with. If you found this video helpful or know someone who might need to hear this message, please hit that like button to support the channel. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever experienced a situation like this, or do you have any advice to share? Let's continue the conversation and help each other out. And, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so you can stay updated on more valuable advice like this. Don't miss out on future content that can help you live a more fulfilling, secure, and meaningful life. Remember, relationships are about balance, respect, and care. Take your time, protect yourself, and make wise choices. You deserve nothing less.